Hi, thanks for joining me today, Monday, June 29th. Sacha Baron Cohen pranks far-right rally, fools crowd with racist song. Rolling Stone reports. Sacha Baron Cohen pranked a far-right rally Saturday in Olympia, Washington, with the actor pretending to be a bluegrass artist leading a crowd in a sing-along to a tune with racist lyrics. Social media accounts first revealed, and Variety later confirmed, that Baron Cohen was behind the hijinks at the March for Our Rights 3 rally, hosted by the far-right militia group Washington 3%ers. According to reports, Baron Cohen first disguised himself as a wealthy head of a political action committee in order to infiltrate the event, then populated the rally with his own entertainment and security team. With his plan in place, Baron Cohen was able to execute his prank, which may or may not have been filmed for the Showtime series Who is America, by severing organizers' access to their own event. The Washington 3%ers said in a statement Saturday of Baron Cohen's prank, "We at the Washington 3%ers were appalled at the performance of an entertainer adorned in clown face who, much to our group's mutual repugnance, voiced a series of racist and anti-Semitic jokes and songs while on the stand. This display of disgusting antics was neither condoned nor accepted by Washington 3%ers, and we disavow any affiliation with this lamentable individual." So this was a funny prank, although the way that it's being reported in the media is not necessarily accurate, okay? First of all, the presentation is that all these people were fooled and they all sang along and no one knew that this was a prank. That couldn't be further from the truth. The organizers of the event figured out pretty quick that something was off. They tried to intervene and stop the performance. But since Sacha Baron Cohen provided the security for the event, he had security guarding the generator. Apparently there were 4 people at the generator to keep anyone from turning the power off to his microphone and whatnot. And he had security barricades around the stage with security keeping people away so that he could continue to perform even though people were trying to stop him. And then it was presented as if everyone went along with it and no one knew it was a prank. Clearly, people knew it was a prank. They tried to stop it, and they were prevented for a few minutes because of the security that Sacha Baron Cohen brought in. Eventually, they were able to get through security, pull the power, and they all took off in an ambulance that was parked nearby as their getaway vehicle. Now, what was interesting is then the security didn't even stick around for the rest of the event, which they were supposed to do, because they were not there to secure the event. They were there to prevent people from interrupting this prank that was being filmed. Often what happens in these kinds of pranks is you don't see all the behind the scenes of what goes on, and then when it's presented, they present it in a way that isn't exactly accurate as to what happened on the ground. I gotta say, this was a funny prank, but the reporting on it, not exactly accurate. Graham Linehan, known for creating the IT Crowd and co-creating Father Ted, has been permanently suspended from Twitter after allegedly making multiple transphobic comments from CNN. A Twitter spokesperson told CNN that Linehan's account @gliner has been permanently suspended after repeated violations of our rules against hateful conduct and platform manipulation. Reports from The Guardian and the Irish Post newspapers say his account was closed after the comedian reportedly tweeted, quote, "Men aren't women though," end quote, in response to a tweet by the Women's Institute, a UK-based women's organization wishing Happy Pride Month to its transgender members. Why are you even talking about this, Tom? Someone got kicked off Twitter. Who cares, right? I think this is an example of big tech overstepping their bounds, and they're deciding what is acceptable speech and unacceptable speech. We talk a lot about equity these days, and it's true that they don't want you to insult or belittle certain groups, but other groups, you can do it and get a raise. This is just the latest example of this. If you don't know Graham, he was the creator of The IT Crowd. It's on Netflix. Hopefully they don't cancel it. A British sitcom, one of the funniest ever. That's my recommendation if you haven't seen it yet. It's hilarious. This is Twitter just treating different people differently based on their political ideas, and that's wrong. Now, over the last week, a lot of people have moved over to Parler. It's a new alternative to Twitter. I've tried it. I set up an account, and I haven't been able to log back in a second time. I keep getting an error. So hopefully they'll get that fixed. Remains of the historical figures guillotined during the French Revolution found in walls of Paris chapel, from The Telegraph. The remains of some 500 people guillotined during the French Revolution are now believed to lie under a 19th century chapel and not in the Paris catacombs as formerly assumed, archaeologists say. Among those whose bones are thought to be buried under the chapelle expiatoire, or the expiatory chapel, is Maximilien de Robespierre, one of the most famous and influential revolutionary figures. His arrest and execution in 1794 marked the end of the Reign of Terror, during which Louis XVI and his wife Marie Antoinette were beheaded in what is now the Place de la Concorde. It is thanks to a historical investigation initiated by Mr. Pénégué de Stutz that the remains were discovered. He unearthed hints in letters written by Louis XVIII and became intrigued by the unusual construction of the chapel walls, leaving enclosed spaces between them where he suspected remains lay. A tiny camera was inserted in the joins between the stone blocks of the walls, and 4 chests containing bones were seen. Quote, "I was moved to tears," Mr. Pénégué de Stutz said. The discovery was made in 2018, but it was kept secret until now, because more than 2 centuries after the revolution, France was in the throes of another uprising, the Yellow Vest protests against the government of President Emmanuel Macron. It was feared the protesters could target the chapel if it was believed that it's shelter of the remaining aristocrats. Further excavations are to be carried out next year. Now, I think this has the potential of being a new tourist attraction, right? They could take down parts of the wall and put in plexiglass or something so you could see the bodies, right, without the heads, of all the people they guillotined during the French Revolution. I think that would be quite an incredible thing, as this probably doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Police have arrested 6 people in France over the theft of a work by the British street artist Banksy that commemorated the victims of the 2015 terrorist attacks in Paris. From The Guardian, thieves used an angle grinder to remove the mural of a mourning girl from a steel security door at the Bataclan concert hall, where 90 people died during a wave of shootings and bombings across the city that left 130 dead. The Banksy work, stenciled in white paint, was found in good condition in Italy earlier this month after a joint operation by French and Italian police. The artwork, part of the series made by Banksy during a visit to Paris in 2018, was stolen from the Bataclan in January 2019. Video footage showed the hooded thieves cutting through the fire door. Detectives announced earlier this month that they found the work in an abandoned farmhouse in the Abruzzo region east of Rome. The theft caused widespread anger in France. The Bataclan is the symbol of remembrance and belongs to all locals, Parisians, citizens of the world. Now, this was another story from France. I got on a French news kick. But I've always been a big fan of Banksy. I remember when this artwork was stolen and the fact that they recovered it in a farmhouse in Italy, some good detective work. But it also reminds me of what happened at the Bataclan in Paris. We really don't get that much international news in the US, and I just wanted to bring up another story from there. Popular Nigerian online comedy group Ikorodu Boys have received an invitation to the premiere of Hollywood thriller Extraction 2. Ikorodu Boys is a Nigerian online comedy group that recreates and mimics multi-million-dollar music videos and Hollywood movie trailers. Ikorodu Boys drew the attention of the producers of the movie, Russo Brothers, following the remake of the movie trailer. The group is made up of 3 boys aged 15, 13, and 10. They're managed by their 23-year-old brother, who also edits the videos. Now, if you haven't noticed, I try to end all of my videos with a positive story because there's so much negativity going on in the world right now. So I think this is just a fun story about these kids in Nigeria. You can do so much these days with filming with a phone, right? You can do incredible things that were not possible when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we actually filmed Friday the 13th Part 9. And when we did this, I think 3 had just come out. And some friends and I, we'd get on our bicycles and go up to the mountain, and we filmed, Jason and 13 murders and the whole thing. I think the film was about 20 minutes long total. And back then, you had a big camera, and it was then connected to the recorder. So we had, one kid would be carrying the camera, and he'd have another kid behind him carrying the recorder itself. There was so much equipment. It was ridiculous. We didn't have the editing capabilities that there are today. You can do so much even on your phone. You can do this stuff. I did a story last week about a family filming Pee-wee's Big Adventure, now seeing these kids in Nigeria redoing music videos and Hollywood trailers. They mostly do music videos, but it's really fun to see little kids acting just like the adults. The adults would have this, really fancy music video, and then they recreate it with really cheap props. It just brings a smile to my face. If you're looking for something to lift you up, you can check out their channel. So let me know what you think about this story or any of the stories I talked about today in the comments. Have an awesome day. Peace.